was at therapy this morning when I was telling my psychiatrist all of my life's problems. That's when security burst through the door and asked the person who I was telling all my problems to who he was, how he got in here, and was asked to leave immediately. And that got me thinking. Good day, you absolute legends. Welcome back to another episode of the Light No Sky Challenge. Here are the latest developments. No one is safe as the Cynical Kingdom has been secretly testing mounts to cross over the oceans with no issues. And I'm pleased to say, testing has been successful, so let's get into today's video. The boffins at the Cynical Kingdom have been hard at work experimenting with the egg sequencer, using a singular egg that was laid by Larry, which was my original flying mount. They use a special blend of secret ingredients in the egg sequencer, which of course we're not going to make public, we're not that silly. But in the spirit of taunting, we'll just say 7 very specially selected herb and spices. You can go down to your local KFC and maybe you might get the ingredients. Anyway, continuing forward. Now, why would we want a companion, a mount so big? Well, the theory is the smaller the companion, the lower to the ground it will fly. And thus, if there's a dip in the water, obviously in the ground of the sea, of the ocean that we cannot see, then naturally, because the way that the flying mounts work and the mechanics of which they use, it just kind of keeps at a set height no matter the terrain that you fly over. So if there's a dip that you can't see underwater, the companion will also dip, and if it touches the water, it will then unfortunately kick you off. You'll literally be stranded in the middle of the freaking ocean and you can't mount the pet again until you hit dry land. No matter if you call it back in, you just can't do it. So if you reverse that theory and make the pet bigger, it will have a larger height. Thus, it doesn't matter then about the dips in the ocean, and therefore will allow for safe, unimpeded passage. I hope that makes sense. So right now, I'm conducting the first sea trial of this new flying mount. I've still named it Larry, and I don't know why, I just love the name Larry. Don't ask questions, don't even think about it. Larry, it's cool. So I've taken Larry for a test drive over the ocean, and as you can see, no matter how deep the ocean is, there is nothing on the surface that would make it want to fly back up again. It is flying perfect, which means right now, and even we're going to the middle of the ocean a little bit more, there is nothing around and I'm not hitting the water, which again means that Captain Steve thought, well, you know what, the 07 Brew Crew, we have an entire freaking ocean between us. You know, it's going to be limited attacks. We'll be safe over here. You know, isolationism and all that. But now, that is finally not the case. This is essentially the ICBM of the Light No Sky Challenge. We can get to Captain Steve very, very easily. So eggs will be produced now at a phenomenal pace to make sure that we are fully equipped. Now, for those unsure about how we are using the egg sequencer, anybody participating in the event cannot use the egg sequencer. However, if a visitor visits with a player that is currently not taking part in the event, may receive gifts from ourselves taking part in the event. So for example, if someone was to give an egg to a visiting player, then obviously they're not part of the experiment, they're using their ships, they're flying away, and they can do with it what they wish. It's not our fault if they somehow bring it back and it's been changed. I'm just saying, you know, everybody in the event is sticking completely to the rules as intended. So ladies and gentlemen, there's one last thing I want to show you. If obviously you're partaking in the event and you're struggling, you know, you go into these damaged little fiery boxes and, you know, you're getting nanites all the time and you're trying to find tech to upgrade your stuff and maybe it's not even the right tech that you want, I found a better way to do it. Now, of course, there is always a catch with this. It is a high risk but high reward thing. So if you go ahead and you go and aggro sentinels, fight them off and make sure you collect what they drop, because they have a very high chance to drop something called salvage glass. And salvage glass, ladies and gentlemen, is completely OP. Let me show you why. So in your exosuit, go over to where it says salvage glass, and you can see we've got about 12 of them so far. But if we extract the components, they can give you shards. Now, each one has a random chance to give you a different shard for different purposes. However, it's not just the upgrades that you get from it for tech, it's also you get different items, things like that. It's completely ridiculous. Now, let me show you some of the specs of these. So let's just continue installing them, and I'll show you exactly what it gives you. Now, for example, this one here gives you extra fire rate, reload times. I mean, pause the video to read the specs that it's giving me, but it's making my staff, my multi-tool, extremely overpowered right now. And of course, if you install one too many, then they are completely resealable and you can gift them to other faction members. It's literally the gift that keeps on giving. Absolutely incredible. I thought I'd mention it today so everybody can take full advantage of this if you didn't already know about this method. And it also gives you some pretty cool side products as well, such as gold and things that on this planet are just impossible to get without this method. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Don't say the Creole Kingdom doesn't help you. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got time for today. After all, I do have a kingdom to run. But I hope you've all enjoyed today's video nonetheless. And if you can do me a massive favor, leave a like on this very video. And if you have been watching me for a while, you like what I do here, you like the content and everything that we've been making recently, hit that subscribe button. More is on the way. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's everything from me here today. And as always, my name is Professor Cynical, and I'll catch you all again in the next one. Bye for now.
In the world of light, no sky, there's a tale to tell of Captain Steve and his crew. They thought they'd excel with their '07 brew crew. They aimed for glory's light, but their tactics were so off they couldn't win a fight. Captain Steve with his hat tipped just so, his crew so lost they couldn't find their own glow. Sailing through battles with strategies quite planned, the '07 brew crew just can't catch a hand. Captain Steve thought he was the king of the game, but his plans were more flawed than a moth to a flame. The crew tried their best, but it all went awry. Their maneuvers were more awkward than a bird that can't fly. Captain Steve with his hat tipped just so, his crew so lost they couldn't find their own goal. Sailing through battles with strategies quite planned, the '07 brew crew just can't catch a hand. They dreamed of conquest, ruling the skies, but their tactics were so bad they were met with sighs. No victories to claim, just a lot of pros. The '07 brew crew, they should